everyone. I'm Bill Rowland, and welcome once again to another episode of Patch Chat, our Final Four edition. And this time we're sitting down and doing a one-on-one with Gabe Norwood. He was a member, obviously, of the 2006 Final Four team, a junior on that team that year. Started, of course, against both Michigan State and North Carolina, but played a huge role coming off the bench. And while we're going to talk a little bit about that Final Four run, Gabe, we really want to know what's been going on with you since then. And you're a guy who's probably had the most consistent post-Mason career as far as basketball goes. You've been playing in the Philippines since 2008. How did you end up playing in the Philippines?
Man, to be honest, it was part of the Final Four. It was part of the run. Just so happened, I think as many people know, there's usually a coaches convention there at the Final Four, and not just coaches in the States, but coaches from all over the world show up. And just so happened, there were some coaches in the Philippines that were there. They saw my mom and my grandmother. I'm part Filipino, for those who don't know, and that's how I've kind of made a career out of it. But saw them there. Basically asked, do you have a son, a grandson out there playing? Sure enough, number 5 of George Mason is part Filipino, and it basically snowballed from there. I came to Manila for the first time after the Final Four that summer with Athletes in Action, the sports ministry group. Played a bunch of the college players, college teams here with fellow Division I basketball players from the States. We did a tour for about 10 days. And basically made my connections there. I was out here right after my senior year.
And you ended up in 2008, the number 1 overall pick in the Philippine Basketball Association draft. I think that's a pretty good trivia question. Not too many people will be able to say number 1 pick in the draft, right?
Right. That's a good trick question to throw out there. Who was the number 1 pick in the 2008 draft? Yeah, but it was cool. I got blessed in a good situation. For people who aren't born in the Philippines but have Filipino blood, they have to do a year in the amateur league. So I was actually out here after I finished in 2007. I played a year kind of in their amateur league before I was able to get drafted in 2008 to the pros.
And you drafted by a team, the Rain or Shine Elasto Painters, if I got that right. Obviously, over there in the Philippines, the sponsors are naming the teams. Yep. But it's interesting because you've spent your entire career with them. And I know loyalty and family are a big deal to you and your family. Did that play into not wanting to move on? You guys had a couple of really good years. You've won a couple of championships with them, but you've been with them for your 12, 13-year career. Loyalty a big deal for you.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the head, Bill. Like anybody that's known me or come across the Norwood family, I think they understand how close we are, how much we just support one another. And, Rain or Shine gave me the opportunity in 2008 to be a pro, and I'm forever grateful for it. I've been able to put a roof over my head, married my wife here in the Philippines, have 3 sons, and, I'm very happy here with Rain or Shine, and they take good care of me.
So not only with them, but you also have played with the national team, and you guys have had some pretty good success with the national team. You won the William Jones Cup. And also finished with a gold medal in the Southeast Asia Games back in 2007, I think it was. Talk to me about what it means. You mentioned you have Filipino blood, but what does it mean to be able to contribute and play for your national team? That's something that no matter what country you're from or what you play in, that's a pretty huge deal.
It is huge. I think it's something that I never run away from. When, getting the call, hey, Gabe, do you want to play again? It's a no-brainer for me. Just especially being here now and really understanding the sacrifices that were made in the past by my family to, try to provide a better life, kind of the American dream, and to be able to kind of flip it and come back here, seeing the smiles I'm able to put on my mom's face, my grandmother's face. My great grandmother is still alive. My Lola is still alive. So it's an honor, and especially for those who've never been to the Philippines, it's a basketball country. Manny isn't fighting right now, so it's a lot of basketball, and it's everywhere. And Jai Lewis, I had Jai come out here my rookie year as our import, our American player, and I'm sure he has good things to say about the Philippines as well.
We'll have to ask him when we talk to Jai down the road. You mentioned the 3 boys. Tell me about your kids. What's going on with them? Should we be sending some scouts over? Are they in the basketball line here? I mean, I know they're a few years away from college, but never too early to start looking for talent.
Right. I got the printer here. We can get the letter intent set. But no, my oldest, I have three sons, Cassius, Orion, and Idris. You go with Izzy on the baby, but they're 9, 8, and 3. Love the game of basketball. Actually, just love sports in general. With my dad coaching college football, he's at UCLA now, and then my brother playing in the NFL with the Broncos and the Browns. They love sports 24/7, but try to keep them focused on the books as well. Good, smart kids.
There you go. You talk about how athletic your family is. I mean, you, your brother, but you also have a brother-in-law now that played for the Nationals, and he's with
Yes.
the Royals and Michael A. Taylor. So the question is, who's the best athlete in the family now?
I don't know. Also, you got to throw in, my brother Levi played at Baylor. My
That's right.
sister was a Masonette. My sister was a Masonette there during her time. So, man, I mean, it's tough. I have 2 World Cups on my resume, and then I have a brother with a Super Bowl ring and a brother-in-law with a World Series ring. So, I guess does 2 outweigh 1? Is that how it works?
Well, I tell you what, I bet there's at family time when all this is done and we're all allowed to get back together again. I bet you guys have some pretty amazing stories because there are probably very few families that have somebody with a Super Bowl ring, a World Series ring, some, other medals from basketball competition. I imagine those stories are pretty good. And your dad, of course, having a
Yeah.
bunch of different success at the college level as well. There's some amazing stories, I'm sure.
For sure. We're looking forward to it. It's tough to get us all together. We're all spread out now across the globe, and then everybody's all over the states. But we make the most of it when we do get together.
You're basically, from your career at the national team and also in the professional league over there, I don't want to say a national hero, but you're a pretty big name over there in the Philippines. The career's obviously starting to wind down. You're not going to be able to do this forever. What's next for you? I feel like you could almost be like Pacquiao and maybe run for office. I don't know if you have any designs on that, but what's next, Gabe?
Now, given the political landscape, I'm going to go ahead and sit that one out. But definitely would love to be around the game still. Being a coach's kid myself, just knowing the impact that you can have on young athletes' lives, the lessons that are learned on the court or on the field, and how they translate, into the real world. You can't replace it with anything. So I think sports is huge. I love to be around the game, whether that's coaching or scouting or whatever, however I can help in any part of the world.
Is there any thought, and again, you talk about your kids have been raised there in the Philippines for their entire lives. When this is done, when your career there is over, is there a thought that you would stay there, or because you've got all your family and you guys are so close? I remember from your time in Mason how close your family was and still is. Is there that thought of, I need to get back to the States?
The thought's definitely there. Got 2 more years on my contract to really, lock in and kind of decide the next step, if it's going to be continuing playing or starting to make any type of, post playing transition. My wife is definitely open to the idea. We love to travel and get out and kind of explore anyway. But like you said, it's tough being abroad for so long, missing basically every graduation, birthdays. You feel like you have a lot of time that you need to make up for. So gonna enjoy these next few years on this deal and kind of attack that when it comes.
Last thing for you, Gabe, when you look back at your time at George Mason, how do you remember, even if it's outside of basketball, how do you remember your time at Mason, and what do you want people to remember you by as a player and a person in your time at George Mason?
Yeah, I guess I'll answer the second part first. For me, it was that I was a much better person than I was player. Just there at Mason, I think I treated, everybody from the staff to the other athletes, the students, the friendships that I made outside of the athletic department, I still have today, from, professors and everything. I just try to really, entrench myself as much as I can, given the schedule we have as college athletes, into, the Mason community. And yeah, just definitely be thought of as a better person than I was player. And ultimately, my 4 years at Mason were just awesome. just watching the growth of the university, as kind of like our success happened, basically from my freshman year, staying at the student apartments to, making that transition out of there, and going back and seeing my sister, who was a Masonette there a few years after me, and seeing how the university continues to grow, opportunities continue to be there. It's, the best school for me, and I was blessed to have the opportunity to spend 4 years at George Mason.
Gabe, thanks for your time. It's been great catching up with you and all the guys for our Final Four rewind here. And we wish you all the success coming up your last couple of years of playing, however long it's going to be. And hopefully we look forward to seeing you one day back here at Eagle Bank Arena for a basketball game and to just sit down and say hello. Thank you again for all your time.
No problem, Bill. It's good seeing you. It's been too long, man.